Well, hello, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. And as you can see, we're continuing at the Moravian church here. And we're actually in the graveyard. And as you can see, the two dogs, the two wee dogs are playing.
Come on.
And David's going to tell us here about the grave and the monument to Sula.
Patrice Vasily Zula.
That's great.
And this is where he's buried here on the left hand side, and his wife Annie Lightfoot to the right.
Fantastic.
Now, we're more sure that he is actually buried there. But the story was he died in Dublin. And given that he was paranoid and he had probably PTSD and he was still on the run at this point from the Ottomans, the story is when the undertakers went to get his body from the house, the coffin was very heavy. So they opened it and it was full of stones. And they asked Annie, look, is he dead? And apparently she responded, all you need to know is he's gone.
So it's a bit of, even in death, it's a bit of a mystery.
Bit of a mystery.
And can we make out what the inscription says here?
It's really difficult. It is Vasily, Patrice
Sula. That's fantastic.
Sula.
That is absolutely brilliant.
And it's really hard to part it. This world, I think that's October 18...
1814.
Yeah, and it'll be a bit later than that, I
is
think.
it?
Yeah, it's hard to see that. Aged, and I can't see what that works. It's something years, 48 years. So is
Yes.
that, yeah.
It looks like 48.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And then, so this is the man himself. That's where he's buried, supposedly.
Supposedly, more assuredly.
And this is his wife's grave then.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
So what's this here then?
Well, death is a great leveler for Moravians. And so you won't find great monuments to anybody in a Moravian churchyard.
Yes.
And generally speaking, they would have been buried separately, men and women, as up in Grace Hill, excuse me.
Yes.
But this is just a side monument to say how significant that Reverend Zula was to the community here.
Fantastic.
And that's as big a monument as you're going to get, no matter who you are.
Well, personally anyway, I think of the like of Luther and all those men saw some, even John Knox, there's a big pillar of John Knox.
Yeah.
I would think they would say, look, do away with them.
Yeah.
I don't think they would want them,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. As somebody once said, a cemetery is a marble orchard. But there's no.
But one thing we do get from cemeteries, and that's the history.
A significant history,
which is fantastic.
You begin to wonder who is buried in here, Mark, and who is forgotten.
Yeah.
It's still a working graveyard. And unfortunately, we've had a couple of brothers die last year. But yeah, the sense of belonging, the sense of history, and it's right here on our doorsteps.
Yeah.
And
it's what we call hidden gems.
And this is such a hidden gem. It is 20 minutes from Belfast. And listen.
Well, it's really, really quiet. The birds, you're definitely in the sticks here, there's no doubt about it.
At night time, I leave the window open because the ducks on the pond serenade me. And it is so beautiful. I'm so lucky to be out here. I really do want to share it with as many people as would like to come out here.
I have to say, this is fantastic. I done a wee video off the graveyard. I didn't realise that this was Sula's grave.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And yet it does say his name on it, which is brilliant. As you can see, Basil. And what's that? Patras?
Vasily Patras Zulu.
Zulu.
Patras would have been the same derivative as Patrick, which in Latin means a nobleman.
Would it maybe also have been Petra?
No,
No?
Petra would very much have come from Peter.
Yes.
Patras was a noble. He was a chieftain in his own right, and I think that would have been one of the disappointments he had from the Downshires, that here he was a Greek chieftain, probably of the same, maybe even a greater rank, and that he wasn't accepted, as would have been the Greek tradition if a nobleman had come into your territory.
We forget about that not only was he a minister and a soldier, but he was a chieftain, a Greek chieftain,
and
which is incredible.
Very much a nobleman.
And then, what's the significance then of some of the emblems then on the church?
Well, you can see that some of the crownets would probably have hearkened to the idea of King Leonidas, who from the movie 300 was the Spartan co-king, who with 300 of his own warriors happened to go on a walk to keep the Persians from invading Greece. And up on the top you see these little four-sided pyramid things.
Yes.
Well, the angulation of that triangle is the old Greek letter for L. For Leonidas,
yes.
The great lion.
So that's where that comes in then.
Yeah.
So obviously these have a purpose for being there. They're not just coincidental.
They're not coincidental, and you know, there's the Moravians would have settled in community here, and you're left to believe or wonder how many people out there with Moravian blood don't know that this is where they came from.
Yeah.
And again, you're more than welcome to come visit, especially on the weekend when I'm here. I can give you a tour. We have the Heritage Days, the European Heritage Days. They're in September, aren't they, or is it?
I can't remember the offhand.
We're on the map for that.
Brilliant.
So please sign up for it, and please come out. If you want to come out and have a picnic, the hill over there, Mark,
yes,
is a great place for kids to roll downhill.
Are there Easter eggs? They're hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, that's coming
I
up.
can remember my mum doing that with us.
Yeah, and you're more than welcome. And if you want to go into the church or come join us at church, you're more than welcome. But if you just want to come out for a cup of tea and a picnic or a tour of the facility, please let us know and we will accommodate.
And what time are your services at on a Sunday?
It says on the board 11 o'clock, but recently they have been at 10 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yes.
And again, 4 out of every 5 of them are led by the congregation. So we would be a medium to low church, quite a mix between Anglican and Presbyterian for the greater part.
Yes. In
the delivery of services, but it's Unitas Fratum, the fraternity of brothers.
And I'm going to leave you then with just a wee view here of the grave and also then the monument. And of course, you mentioned that the death being a great leveller.
Yes.
And of course, there's another great leveller, and that's the cross, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we all have to come as a sinner to Jesus. It doesn't matter where we're the president of the United States or even a pauper. Sure it doesn't.
Ash to ash, dust to dust.
Absolutely. So there you go. So I'd like to thank David. This is fantastic. I've really enjoyed this.
Mark, I've really enjoyed you coming out, and had I known we were going to do this in much detail, I would have cleaned up more.
You're okay, David.
But you get me the way you see me.
Absolutely.
No airs or graces here, people.
That's it. Absolutely. So there you go. That's Sula's grave, which is fantastic, and that's his wife Annie.
Annie liked
and Annie like that actually.
An organist.
It sounds like she was a Native American.
Yes, I know, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
Sense.
And funny enough, the parish church in Cookstown that I was at, you know the way you get plaques on, parking, and it said minister, but there was actually one for the organist. I don't think I've ever seen that before. And so there you go. That's the monument as well then to the Reverend Sula, who of course was not only a soldier, but was also a chieftain, a Greek chieftain. So again, thank you for joining me on the Church History Trail, and God bless.